Okay, so thank you for joining us today for our webinar, VTLs for Storage Thinking Organizations. Before we bring Chad on, I just wanted to go over a few quick housekeeping items. So if anyone has questions during the session, please feel free to put that right into the Q&A tab here. Chad will be getting to any questions that you do have during the session. So as he's going along, he will be answering your questions. A big question we always get here too is about slides and recordings. Those will be available within 24 hours. So we will be getting an email out to you with the slides, recordings. And if you do have any other questions, please feel free. You can send those to events@serviceexpress.com if you have any questions about this webinar overall. So with that, I'm going to kick this off to Chad.
Fantastic. Thanks, Heather. Well, welcome, everybody. Glad to have you on. Thanks for taking time out of your day to join us. So the goal today over the next 30 minutes is to really take you on a journey of VTL. So we've helped dozens of customers make the transition from physical tape libraries to virtual tape libraries. And the goal today is really to kind of pull back the curtain and just share with you some of the things that we've kind of uncovered on the journeys that we've taken with customers. Really starting off with, the benefits of VTL versus physical. Some of them you could already imagine what they might be. What are some of the popular VTL solutions that are out there today? Doesn't mean all of them, and it doesn't mean for every platform, but just what are some of the ones that we've come across? And then, how does that now set you up for potentially a road to a cloud solutioning, later on your journey? So like Heather said, throughout this webinar today, please feel free to leverage the Q&A session, our tab, and I'll be looking at that as we go and answering them along the way. And I'll be stopping periodically between slides just to check for any questions that might be out there. So let's go ahead and jump in and kind of kick it off with benefits. So I apologize in advance. I'm going to hit you with a wall of benefits, and we'll walk through these and just kind of showcase some of them on the list. So if you think about this, there are a lot of benefits for jumping over to VTL. These are not necessarily in any kind of order of importance, and some of these benefits might be slightly different depending on what VTL solution you opted for and what operating system and application you're backing up. You might see different results. But the short of it is, some nice benefits are typically VTLs allow you to keep using whatever backup software you've already been leveraging. Net backup, backup exec, BRMS, whatever that might be, you've already got in place today, with some minor configuration changes, adding the new library into the backup software. You can continue to leverage, in most cases, the backup software that you've already been accustomed to. So that really shortens the learning curve jumping to VTL. Probably one of the bigger benefits of VTL is that things will break less. And the things that break will be less impactful. We've been servicing physical tape libraries for, as long as I've been a part of the organization, nearly 30 years. And look, the older the library gets, the more you're going to have mechanical fail. It's just part of the process. Things like the grippers, the accessor, the drives themselves. Well, the nice thing is, right, as you roll to VTL, you begin to see less of those failures because now you're going to disk. Originally it was spinny disk. Now, of course, you've got SSD that can be implemented inside the VTL. And you've got a lot of redundancies, redundant power supplies, redundant disk, fans, fiber channel cards. So the goal is that VTL should bring with it fewer fails. We should expect to see faster backups that come from VTL. And that will usually happen over time because most VTLs come with a pretty aggressive compression and deduplication features that as you're doing the same backups over and over again, they should take less time to accomplish. Most VTLs out there already come in with built-in encryption to meet the security needs of the business. And I think one of the other big features, kind of along with fewer hardware fails, is the fact that you can easily expand VTLs in most cases without the need of shutdown. And certainly you don't need to go in usually and add more parts. So that's kind of the nice thing is through typically a web interface, you're able to go in and add additional libraries, drives, and tapes and present them back out to the attached host systems very seamlessly. Right? We think about physical libraries. That might involve some downtime potentially if I've got to bolt a frame on, or it might involve adding physical tape drives or adding more physical tape. So this is kind of nice. I can do it very seamlessly through typically a nice UI and fairly easily. One thing, and actually just this week I experienced this, easily attached to multiple systems. We were doing some work this week where we had 6 systems, each leveraging their own mini library. Now we have 6 systems going to a single VTL. So I've decreased some footprint. I've decreased some failures by not having so many physical libraries, and really kind of increased the overall administration. Now I've got one VTL to play with. Kind of go running alongside of leveraging your same backup software, most VTL solutions in the market today will allow you to still leverage the most popular libraries and drive models. So if you've been, an HPE library user in the past, great. Most VTLs can continue to leverage HP, LTOs and libraries. Same with IBM. So the most popular ones generally will still exist in the VTL solution that you choose. Again, reducing the impact to the host systems and the amount of admin and changeover work you have to do to get the VTL stood up and actually in production. We talked about this already, right? No physical tapes to manage or to go bad or to get stuck. Lots of built-in redundancies. And then optionally, now that you're leveraging a VTL, now you have maybe some potential to do some various backup as a service, DR as a service solutions with a private or public cloud provider. So again, I probably didn't cover all the benefits that are out there. These are just some of the common benefits that we've experienced with customers that we've worked with, and certainly experienced as we've kind of sampled different VTL products that are out in the market today. I'll pause there for just a quick couple of seconds before we jump over to the next topic for any questions or thoughts that might have come up just from this initial slide of benefits. One of the things that I talked about already in the benefits section were really the fact that we should expect fewer failures. The nice thing when you select a VTL solution, you typically are going to get RAID protected disks for the backup. So now if I lose a disk drive, the world doesn't end. I can still get backups accomplished. I can replace the drive on the fly, and great, I'm back to full production. Right in the world of tape libraries, if I lose a tape drive, I might now have some impact in my business, depending on how I've configured that library and presented the library out to the host. No robot or accessor to break, no grippers to break, no sensors to fail, no barcode readers to fail, and of course no physical tapes to fail, wear out, get stuck. So I think really you kind of gain a lot there, right? You remove a lot of friction from hardware fails as you kind of migrate to that VTL solution. And again, you might experience other benefits from this. Like I said, there's also benefits of redundant I/O, going into the VTL in case of a fiber card fail. But these are kind of the most common ones we typically see. The other nice thing too is, VTL solutions, depending on what solution you select, might be leveraging commodity hardware. So that way, it might be running on Intel hardware that now is very prevalent and popular in the world. So repairs are even easier and cheaper to accomplish, than maybe a bespoke library that you might have. So a question that popped in, can you partition the VTL to allow for shared use? So for example, one VTL partition goes to backup exec, and another goes to Commvault. Yeah, so typically what we would do and what we've done for customers is we will set up multiple libraries and assign those libraries out to the various backup hosts. So we might have a library going to a Unix machine running net backup. We might have another library going to a Windows machine running backup exec, another one going to an IBM I machine running BRMS, and then those backups could all happen. So each host running that backup software would get its own library or libraries, and then from there you can assign as many tapes or drives as you wanted. So that's certainly something that you could do there. We've done that for several customers. So you can not only have multiple hosts attached with multiple backup softwares, running to it, right? So it makes it really easy. What other thoughts or questions about benefits or some of the things we're talking about with failures and disruptions? Perfect. Now, the next slide is going to vary, quite honestly, depending on what you've selected for your VTL solution. But I wanted to kind of give you just a sample, kind of looking at some of the VTL products that we've leveraged and helped customers implement of the backup software that can run on the host that would be compatible. Because I think, some of the perception might be, well, if I go from physical to virtual, am I going to lose some of my functionality? And you can kind of see from here that a lot of the most popular backup software products are supported in a VTL environment. Again, you do have to check with each VTL vendor. Results will vary, right, depending on who you've selected. But some of the ones that we typically engage with, you can kind of see we have a wide range of software compatibility. So when we do put the VTL in place, our customers don't all of a sudden have to go skill up and learn a new backup software. In most cases, it will be compatible with what they're already leveraging. Now, as you get into some homegrown solutions, results will certainly vary. But again, kind of looking at the major producers of backup software, in most cases, they're going to be supported with the VTL product you've chosen. Like I said, that's just something to investigate in some of the fact finding as you're looking to make a change, just to make sure it does meet the needs of the business. We typically engage with customers leveraging things like net backup, backup exec, BRMS, and Veeam are probably some of the most common ones that we see out in the industry as we're helping customers transition. And again, I'm guessing that probably the backup software you're leveraging is somewhere probably on this list. Thoughts or questions as we kind of move forward? Great. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these, but I think this becomes part of your fact finding with your potential VTL solution. And I know that this is very small. The goal here was just to show you just a large list. Again, when you're switching from physical to virtual, another big question that comes up is, will I be able to emulate similar libraries and tape drives that I physically have today? And so as you can kind of see here, there are a lot of options that are out there from the most popular tape library manufacturers. Most of us are sitting in the world of HPE, IBM, Oracle, Overland, Quantum, ADIC, right, which is Quantum. So, those kind of make up a good chunk of the common libraries that are out there. And most VTLs that you're going to select or research are going to give you a wide variety of emulation. So again, that jump from physical to virtual is shortened because your host software is going to see the same type of devices attached. Again, that's just part of what I would say part of the research is just making sure that you do have that compatibility that you need in your business. One of the things we talked about earlier was that ease of expandability. And these are just some of the examples of things that most of the popular VTL solutions kind of out in the industry can do for you. Adding libraries on the fly and provisioning those libraries to hosts. The goal is I want to be able to do that pretty seamlessly. I don't want to have to go shut down everything or shut down the VTL and reboot and do these things to accomplish this. I want this to be very seamless and very simple. Adding drives without impacting backups or systems. So most of these, again, you can create more virtual drives, add them to the libraries, and present to host very seamlessly. And then grow the number of tapes, right? As your backup scope increases and your backup demands change, you want to be able to make sure that you can add more tapes into the backup scope easily. Now, storage expansion will vary a bit depending on what VTL solution you've chosen. Some solutions, adding more actual backend storage is seamless and on the fly. Some do require more levels of intrusiveness. Might be as simple as a reboot, might be more. In most cases, though, you can grow the backend storage usually pretty easily across, multiple VTL product lines. And then, another big selling point is I can attach multiple systems with different OSs and different backup software to my VTL environment, because that's part of the upsell. How do I get rid of all of these, dissimilar, independent libraries throughout my data center in order to take advantage of maybe a singular solution that takes up less space, easier to maintain, easier to manage. So again, most of the common VTL product lines out there will absolutely allow you to bring in multiple hosts, multiple backup software and operating systems. Just kind of pause there for any thoughts or questions as we before we move forward a little bit. Now, the next area I'm going to cover, and again, it is not the end-all be-all list. It's not finite. There are some of these products that we have certainly leveraged in our own data centers. There are some of these products that we have helped customers migrate to. But again, there are many other VTL solutions out there. This is just a short list of some of the common ones that certainly come across our doorstep in the world that we live in of managed services and third-party maintenance. Again, doesn't mean it's finite and doesn't necessarily mean that these are the only ones I would recommend. These are certainly ones that we just see more often than not. And I didn't necessarily put them in any kind of order of priority or performance or usability. But these are just, again, ones that we typically see. So if a customer were to come to me and say, hey, Chad, what do you recommend? I would probably begin somewhere on this list unless they had another solution already selected. And then we would just kind of start working through pros and cons and aligning on the right solution. But again, not necessarily saying this is the end all be all, but certainly Dell EMC has been in this world of VTL with their data domain, now Power Protect product, for quite some time. Falcon Store certainly has been out there for a while with VTL solutions. Matter of fact, in the early days, in some of the Sun days and Storage Tech days, they even repurposed Falcon Store. We've certainly leveraged Falcon Store for many of our customers. Falcon Store is more of an operating appliance, like an OS and software package that is layered on top of commodity hardware. Cybernetics, another big player out there, offering a wide range and scale of a VTL solution. And then DSI, also, again, offering a variety of backup solutions. And then Sphinx. Sphinx has been around for quite some time. I've certainly had a lot of history using Sphinx in our own data center, along with Cybernetics and Falcon Store. So Sphinx has been out there for a while as well. So again, these are some popular ones that are out there. And really, we'll go into some questions that I recommend everybody ask as part of their transition to VTL, that you need to ask these different vendors to really make sure that this is the right product for you, because they are slightly different in how they connect, how they operate, how they're licensed, how they're purchased. So again, we'll cover some of those questions towards the end here when we talk about what do I want to know about my VTL solution before I buy. But again, some of the popular ones that we certainly have bounced up against many times. I did mention earlier that VTL becomes potentially a gateway to cloud services, backup as a service, DR as a service, or even helping you migrate on-prem resources to cloud for an infrastructure as a service solution. And so I just kind of threw out a very simple, block diagram of how that might play out. I happen to have chosen IBM Power System running IBM I, but now if I've got a VTL on-prem, now I maybe have a way to begin to replicate my resources to a private cloud provider or public cloud provider to begin to do a lift and shift migration. So VTL also becomes kind of a gateway into cloud services. Many of our customers start with us as a backup as a service that morphs into a DR as a service that ends with an infrastructure as a service. So we kind of see that road to cloud look a little different, but typically we kind of see people start at a certain area and then maybe end all the way with full infrastructure. So like I said, VTL becomes a great launching pad for how do I begin to lean into some cloud services through a cloud provider. And that's been a lot of, for example, we bring VTL to market. That's been sometimes the why is they want to begin that road to cloud. And so we start with VTL services and end with full infrastructure management. Got to pause there for thoughts or questions. But kind of the last area, and we're going to spend a little time on this that I want to leave us with, is look, we kind of talked about, we kind of sandwiched this. At the beginning, we said, here's all the benefits. Well, I want to end with, here's all the questions. So as you're thinking about making that leap from a physical on-prem library or libraries to a VTL solution, here's a list of common questions that I typically run through with our customers, and I encourage our customers to run through with any provider they're looking at. One, how do you want to pay for this? A lot of the VTL providers out there have different licensing models that might fit into an OpEx budget with a subscription or a full-on ownership through CapEx. So I think, just how do you want to have this thing hit the books, right? Is it more of an OpEx solution you're looking for or CapEx solution? Most VTL solutions can accommodate either or. What kind of support am I going to get? If I buy this VTL, is it going to be installed by the provider? Or am I on the hook to install it? And then what happens after that? Am I on the hook for the management, the updates of it? Is there any support that I can call on? Just what does that look like once I bring this into my data center? What kind of services am I going to get from this, from the solution? I mentioned it's extremely resilient. It's very reliable. It fails less, but it does fail. And so what can I expect from that? And you are going to have questions. So what can you do about that? So that's just a really good question to lean into. What's the service going to entail or not? And then how compatible is it with what I already have? Am I going to have to do a bunch of education with my team? Is there going to be a high cost of migration and implementation that was not planned for? Just how easy is it to bring this thing in? And not just compatible with the hardware, the software that you have, but also how compatible is it with my hardware? Will it physically attach to my existing infrastructure? If I already have SAS, can I SAS attach? If it's fiber, will it go into the SAN switch like everything else is done? So I think, really unpacking that before it shows up, right? Is it going to work for my business needs or can it? What kind of backup can I expect from this? Am I able to do full system save backups? Am I only going to be able to do incrementals? How many backups can I do? What kind of capacity am I going to have? With this, does it have the ability of immutable storage? So I can kind of, write protect backups and keep them off to the side, so I can recover back from ransomware, other things that might have happened in my data center. Does this have encryption? If so, what level of encryption? These are all just questions to kind of ferret out in your investigative work, to really make sure that moving to VTL does accomplish not only the immediate fix you have, because maybe you've got a physical library that's giving you problems and you want to make a migration to VTL to solve that problem, but what other problems will it solve for your business today and in the future? So I think it's just good to run down kind of a punch list with the provider you're engaging and make sure it really does meet the needs, for the business. And then ultimately, how portable is this? If I were to look at cloud solutioning down the road, right? How easy can I make that migration? Again, I understand this may not be all the questions that come top of mind. These are certainly ones that we've been asked from our customers, and that we encourage anybody that we work with to ask, just to make sure that directionally we're going in the right spot, right? With the solution that we've chosen. We'd hate to, get a solution in the door that is cumbersome to implement, doesn't fully align with your environment, and now, right, we spend a large amount of time getting it stood up, and it doesn't fully meet your needs down the road. So I think it's kind of one of those, measure twice, cut once, right? Spend the time up front to really vet out the solution, and then, then when you pull the trigger, you really know what you're bringing into the market. So it felt fast, right? There's a lot to cover with VTL. I'd love to say there's one size that fits all. You ship it, you plug it in, and you go. The reality is that's not true. You do have to do some research. There are a lot of questions to ask. We're here to help as well. We've helped, like I said, a lot of customers through this transition. So we definitely want you to engage with us. But that's really where I wanted to take you on a journey of today. It's short. It's really to prime the pump, get you thinking about it, and then certainly engage us as you have questions moving forward. So I wanted to kind of wrap it up for today. Make sure we are being mindful of the time you've taken out of your day. And like I said, and like Heather said, we'll make sure that you get the recording and the slides for this. At the end of the session, we'll get those over to you. But I just wanted to, like I said, thank everybody for their time. And I know, Heather, I think you were going to pop back on and kind of close out for us with any, kind of final thoughts as we take it home for the people that attended today.
Perfect. So again, thank you everyone for attending. As we said at the beginning, and just a reminder that Chad just said as well, we will be getting the slides and the recording out within 24 hours. If you have any questions about this event, you can certainly message the team, events@serviceexpress.com, and we will get back to you. Also, if you want to see what's upcoming from the team and other webinars that we're doing, or where we're going to be for some fall shows, you can go to our site, serviceexpress.com/events, and you can register for some future webinars, and also see we're going to be on the road this fall. So thank you everyone again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you at our next event.